Shalom, my friends. Welcome. Come, sit, make yourself comfortable. Maybe you have a glass of tea? Good. Today I want to talk about something that might sound a little strange, a little upside down. We're going to talk about safety, specifically about money and investments. And I'm going to share a perspective, an old perspective that says what most people call safe is actually the most dangerous thing you can do with your money. It sounds crazy, no? A young man, a smart boy, son of a friend, came to me last week. He had saved a little money, not a fortune, you understand, but his fortune, the fruit of his hard work. He was so proud, and I was proud of him. He said, "Zev, the world is meshuggah. It's crazy out there. The markets go up, they go down like a child on a seesaw. I want to put my money somewhere completely safe, a government bond maybe, or just a high-yield savings account, where it can't be lost." I looked at him, this wonderful young man with so much potential, and I smiled, but my heart ached a little, because he was about to make a terrible mistake, a mistake born from a misunderstanding of what safety truly is. He was trying so hard to protect his seed, he was planning to lock it in a little box forever. But a seed in a box can never become a tree. Its potential is wasted. This idea, that the safest-looking path is often the most perilous, is woven deep into the fabric of Jewish thought and history. It's not about being reckless, chas v'shalom, God forbid. It's about understanding the nature of the world. The world is not static. It moves, it changes, it breathes. And to stand still in a moving world is to be left behind. It's to fall. Let's talk about my bubby, my grandmother. May she rest in peace. She lived through history. Pogroms in the old country, the Great Depression, wars, turmoil. To her, the most tangible, the most real thing was cash. Cold, hard cash. She didn't trust banks. Not really. Not after seeing them fail. She didn't trust stocks. What was that? Pieces of paper. So she kept her savings, her life's work, in a sturdy metal box hidden under a floorboard. She felt safe. Every night, she knew her money was there. It wasn't going anywhere. And she was right. It didn't go anywhere. But the world did. The price of bread went up. The cost of a home went from a few $1,000s to tens, then hundreds of thousands. The value of her money, the power of her money to actually do things in the world, it was evaporating. It was being eaten by a silent thief, a thief named inflation. Her safe money was losing its lifeblood, year after year. She was protecting the number, but losing the value. This is the first and perhaps most important lesson. In finance, standing still is not an option. You are either growing or you are shrinking. There is no middle ground. That safe savings account that pays you 1 or 2%? When inflation is running at 3, 4, or 5%, you are not saving. You are participating in a slow, guaranteed loss. It is the illusion of safety, a comfortable path leading off a cliff. This brings us to a deep, beautiful Jewish concept. Lador v'dor, from generation to generation. This is a sacred obligation. We are taught that we are merely custodians of our traditions, our values, and yes, of our material wealth. The goal is not just to pass on what we received. The goal is to pass on a world of greater opportunity. Imagine two fathers. The first father works his entire life and saves $100,000. He puts it in a perfectly safe place that does not grow. He says to his child, "Here, I have protected this for you. It is the same amount I started with. I did not lose a penny." The second father also has $100,000. He invests it. He takes calculated risks. He invests in businesses that build things, in properties that provide homes. Over his lifetime, that money grows. Sometimes it goes down, yes, that's the nature of it. But over the long term, it grows to $500,000. He gives this to his child. Which father better fulfilled the principle of Lador v'dor, the one who safely returned the seed, or the one who risked planting the seed and handed over a small orchard? The first father passed on a static number. The second father passed on potential. He passed on a greater capacity for his child to build, to give, to experience, and to continue the chain of growth for the next generation. Hoarding capital in a safe place is a betrayal of Lador v'dor. It is a vote of no confidence in the future. It is choosing to manage decline rather than to foster growth. And this flows directly into another pillar of our worldview, tzedakah. Most people translate this as charity, but the root of the word tzedek means justice, righteousness. Giving tzedakah is not just about being nice. It's about bringing justice and balance to the world. And how does this connect to our investments? Money that is locked away in a safe bond or under the mattress is stagnant. It is a pond without an inlet or an outlet. It does nothing. It employs no one. It builds nothing. It finances no new ideas. It is, in a word, useless to the community. It serves only itself. And as we've seen, it does that poorly. But money that is invested? That money is alive. It is a flowing river. It becomes the capital that allows a small business to hire its first employee. It becomes the funding for a new technology that can cure a disease. It helps a family buy a home. Your invested capital is an active participant in the great project of building the world. It is a form of tzedakah, a way of using your resources to create opportunity and justice for others. To choose an investment that is too safe is to tell the world, I will not participate. I will not help build. I will hoard my resources for myself. This is the opposite of the tzedakah mindset. The righteous path is to make our capital productive, to have it work alongside people in the real economy, creating, innovating, and building a better world. This requires taking a risk, of course. But the alternative, the so-called safety of the stagnant pond, is a guarantee that your money will do no good for anyone, including eventually yourself or your children. There is even a concept called Tashchit, do not destroy. On the surface, it's a simple command from the Torah, not to wantonly cut down fruit trees during a wartime siege. But the sages expanded this to a universal principle against waste and destruction of anything of value. And what could be more wasteful than the destruction of potential? A dollar that could have been invested, that could have grown, that could have funded a business or a home, but instead was left to rot from inflation. That is a form of Tashchit. You are destroying its future value. You are destroying its potential to do good in the world. Think again of the seed. To keep a seed in a jar on a shelf seems like the ultimate act of preservation. It will not be eaten by a bird. It will not be washed away by a flood. It is safe. But in its safety, it is useless. Its entire purpose, its entire potential to become a mighty tree that provides shade and fruit for generations, is destroyed by this safety. The only way to fulfill the seed's destiny is to risk it, to put it in the dark earth, where it might fail, but where it also might flourish. This is Tashchit. To not risk the seed is to destroy the orchard. To not risk your capital is to destroy its potential for growth and good. So what is the answer? To be reckless? To gamble everything on a wild scheme? Of course not. The wisdom is not in avoiding risk, but in managing it intelligently. The Talmud, in Tractate Bava Metzia, gives some remarkably timeless advice. It suggests a person should divide their assets into three. 1/3 in land, or what we would call real estate. 1/3 in business, in merchandise, what we might call stocks or equities. And 1/3 should be kept liquid, readily at hand, which we would call cash or short-term reserves. Did you hear that? It is a 2,000-year-old recipe for a diversified portfolio. It's not about finding one safe thing. It's about acknowledging that different assets have different kinds of risks and rewards. Land is stable, but illiquid. Business is volatile, but has high growth potential. Cash is liquid and stable in number, but vulnerable to inflation. True safety does not come from avoiding risk. It comes from balancing risks. It comes from diversification. It is the wisdom of not putting all your eggs in one basket, yes, but it is deeper than that. It is an active embrace of a multifaceted world. It is an understanding that to build a strong house, you need different materials, a solid foundation, flexible wooden beams, and clear glass for the windows. Each serves a different purpose. Our history as a people has baked this lesson into our bones. For centuries, being tied to one place, to one asset like a piece of land, was the most dangerous thing imaginable. An edict from a hostile king, a wave of violence, and your safe asset was gone. You and your family were left with nothing. This history taught us that true wealth, true security, had to be adaptable, portable, and growth-oriented. It had to be based on knowledge, on a trade, on capital that was working and diversified across different ventures and even different locations. The Shtetl portfolio was one of resilience. It was designed to survive and thrive in a world that was, and is, inherently uncertain. It was the opposite of putting everything into one, supposedly unshakable asset. So, when I see this young man, this wonderful boy, wanting to hide his money in a safe little box, I see someone who has forgotten these lessons. He is focused on the small risk of the market going down tomorrow, and ignoring the guaranteed risk of his money becoming worthless over the next 20 years. He is trying to protect the body of his money, while letting its soul, its potential, wither, and die. True financial safety is not a guarantee against loss. Nothing in life worth having comes with such a guarantee. True safety is resilience. It is the ability to withstand shocks because you are not dependent on one single outcome. It is the ability to grow over the long term, to fulfill your obligations to the future, to l'ador vador. It is the wisdom to make your capital a participant in the world, to fulfill the mitzvah of tzedakah. And it is the courage to avoid Tashchit, the sin of wasting potential. So, do not seek the illusion of a risk-free investment. It does not exist. Instead, seek the deep, enduring safety that comes from a wise, diversified, and purposeful approach to building wealth. Plant your seeds, tend to your orchard, and trust that by embracing calculated risk, you are choosing the only truly safe path there is. The path of growth, of purpose, and of life itself. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Be well.